Good morning, grade 7. Hope you are all doing well and being safe. This is Miss Pamela giving the physics course. Today we are going to start with section 2 in chapter 6. It talks about the transfer of heat. So please open up your books on page 183 and follow up with me. In the previous session and in the previous section we talked about the differences between thermal energy, heat and temperature. Today we are going to talk about how heat is transferred. There are three ways in which heat transfers. The first is conduction, the second is convection, and the third is radiation. In this section, we are going to talk in details about each one of these three ways. The first way in which heat transfers is called conduction. In the process of conduction, heat is transferred from one particle of matter to another without the movement of matter. It is transferred by direct contact. For example, if you were to touch a hot pot, like the one you see in the figure in front of you, heat would be transferred to your fingers by conduction. So heat is transferred without the movement of matter. The second way in which heat is transferred is called convection. In the process of convection, heat is transferred by the movement of currents within a fluid. When I explain the example, you will understand the process of convection more clearly. For example, when the water at the bottom of a pot is heated, so whenever you want to boil water, to cook or to have a hot drink, for example, you put the water in a pot. When the water at the bottom of the pot is heated, its particles move faster. These particles also move farther apart. As a result, the heated water becomes less dense. So, whenever the water at the bottom of the pot is heated, its particles move faster and farther apart and it becomes less dense. You may remember that a less dense fluid will float on top of a denser one. When we talked about floating and sinking, we explained that a less dense fluid floats on top of a denser one. So, the heated water, which has less density than the cold water, rises, and the surrounding cooler water flows into its place at the bottom. This flow creates a circular motion known as a convection current. So this is what we mean by convection. It is when heat is transferred by the movement of currents within a fluid, and this is called a convection current. As you can see in the figure in front of you, the hot water rises and the cold water goes down. The third and final way in which heat is transferred is called radiation. The transfer of energy by electromagnetic waves is radiation. Unlike conduction and convection, radiation doesn't require matter to transfer thermal energy. So, radiation can transfer thermal energy without the use of matter. For example, the radiation you feel from a fire in a fireplace all the way across the room. And also there is another example, which is the radiation we feel from the sun. So this is the transfer of energy by electromagnetic waves. Now in the figure in front of you, you can see three examples of the three ways in which heat is transferred. We have radiation. From the fire to the pot, energy is transferred by electromagnetic waves. And then inside the pot we have convection, because there is a fluid inside the pot. A fluid can be a liquid or a gas. In this example we have liquid, which is water. The hot water rises, the cold water goes down, and this is heating by convection. And then we have conduction, which is at the edge of the pot. This is the transfer of heat by direct contact without the movement of matter. Heat moves one way. If two objects have different temperatures, heat will flow from the warmer object to the colder one. So heat always moves from the warmer object to the colder one, as you can see in the figure in front of you. We have a hot object and a cool object. So heat is transferred from the hot one with the higher temperature to the cool one with the lower temperature. Please pause the video and answer the reading checkpoint on page 186. The answer is no. Heat transfer occurs spontaneously in only one direction, which is from a warmer object or material to a colder one. Now we are going to talk about heat conductors and heat insulators. We already know what a conductor and what an insulator is because of what we studied in electricity. Now, a heat conductor is a material that conducts heat well. For example, metals such as silver and stainless steel are good conductors. And an insulator is a material that does not conduct heat well. For example, wood, wool, straw, gases in air, and paper. These are examples of good insulators. Have you ever heard of the term insulated building and wondered what is it? A well-insulated building is comfortable inside whether it is hot or cold outdoors. Insulation prevents heat from entering the building in hot weather and from escaping the building in cold weather. So as we already stated, heat moves from a warmer object to a colder one. So whenever there is a hot weather outside, the heat will move inside the house. And whenever it is cold outside, the heat will move outside the house. And this is uncomfortable. Insulation prevents this heat transfer from happening. Much of the heat transfer in a building occurs through the windows. This is why insulation is done in the windows. For this reason, insulating windows have two panes of glass, like the one you see in the figure in front of you, with a thin space of air between them. Why air? Because air is a good insulator, so it doesn't allow heat to pass through it. The trapped air does not transfer heat well, so this is how heat is not transferred through these windows, so preventing heat from entering the building in hot weather and from escaping the building in cold weather. As a homework, please solve number 1, parts A, B, and C, number 2, parts A and B, and number 3, parts A, B, and C on page 187. Your homeworks must be done and submitted to me on Tuesday, May 19. Thank you, good luck, and stay safe.